Okay, everybody, we're back, and last time we talked about significant figures and the fact that they're measured numbers, and what we can do is use them to realize what's important about a measurement and what numbers we can keep and what numbers we can't. Today's subject, I'm going to do a little something with the operations, and then we'll look at quickly the metric system as a brief little introduction. All right, so when we talk about operations, we're not going to get crazy with this, but we're going to just talk about addition, subtraction, and multiplication and division. So we'll let's get my pen organized here, and we're good to go. All right. So basically speaking, when we do addition and subtraction, the big thing is we're going to round the answer. So you'll do addition or you do subtraction with your values, and then when you get to the answer, we're going to round that answer, okay, to match the number with the least decimal place. Okay, and that's the important thing to realize. So we're going to look at the decimal places of all the numbers that you're adding or subtracting, and then we're going to round the final answer to that number. Okay, and just understand too that your calculator doesn't do this by itself. You have to do this. So, for example, let's just say it takes 267, and I add it to 11.8. Again, we're not going to worry about the units here. Well, there should be units here, but we're not going to worry about that right now. If you added those together in your calculator, you would get 278.8. Okay, now what I did here is, just like you did back in elementary school, I lined up my decimal points. And if I look at these two, I realize that the least decimal place is actually the 7 right here in the ones place. Now this number down here will go to more decimal places, but we want the one with the least decimal place, would be the ones place. So which one has the least decimals? Okay, and that's what you're going to round to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 278.8, I'm going to round this up so that it limits us to the 279. So 279 would match up the number with the least decimal place, and that's the number that you would report as a significant figures if you were following the significant figures. Again, your calculator would just going to give you the numerical answer. You would have to round it to 279, again, with the least decimal place. So, for example, if you went from 1.111 and you had 2.0, this would be the least decimal place. All right? So, with multiplication and division, it's going to be slightly different. Okay? In this case, you're going to round your answer to match the number with the least number of significant figures. Okay? That's different than the least decimal place. All right, so addition, subtraction, decimal place, this is the least number of significant figures. Okay, so that's what you want to understand about this. So you're going to count how many significant figures are on the things that you're multiplying or dividing, and then you'll round to the least number. Okay, so for example, let's just say you have an object and the mass is 477.85 grams, and you have a volume of 32.6 milliliters, and you want to report the density. All right, so again, you're going to do the mass divided by the volume, okay? And that's what you do. You take the 477.85 grams, you divide it by 32.6 milliliters, okay? And your calculator would spit out this big number, this 14.657975 number. Now, your calculator, I would call it stupid. It's not stupid, but it doesn't know significant figures, so it's going to give you this. But you have to realize that you didn't measure to all these digits at the end. You only measured to 5 significant figures here and only 3 significant figures here. All right. So what's going to win is the 3. Okay. So you're going to have to take this number and round that to 3 significant figures. So it should be rounded to 14.7. Okay. So you only want 3 sig figs. Okay. So you're going to take this number and you're going to go all the way down here to that number here, which is a 5. And you're going to round that up to a 6 to a 7, and then you would report that number as 14.7, okay, to match the 3 significant figures that are in 32.6. So that's really what you want to do. So it's not a big deal. Again, the practice is on the practice sheets that you have in your packet. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, so again, we'll review a little in class, but I'm gonna skip it after that because it's something that we don't want to spend a lot of time on. We have a lot of other things to do, so we'll just move on. Okay. As far as the metric system goes. Again, we all know and love the metric system. Problem with the metric system is that we don't do too much. We don't do too much with it, and because of that, we ended up, living our lives with the English system. And again, that's what we're stuck with. So a little something in here to just to show you a little bit, is that it's a great system, the metric system, based on tens, and these repeated prefixes like centi, deci, milli. You heard these before. Okay, and while we use it for science, there's only really 3 countries in the world still that use the English system and don't really use the metric system all that much. We do use it in science. Okay, so in science we use the metric system, so you kind of have to get used to it a little bit. I know we've been doing it since 4th grade, but we don't live it, so it's hard to know. All right, so when you convert within the metric system, I like to use the given unit on the map below. You'll see this map, okay, and then move those correct number of decimal places to arrive at your desired unit. Okay, so you have a given unit, and then you're going to have a desired unit, and you're going to move those decimal places. So if you look at this cute little map here, we have our base unit, which is going to be our home base. Okay, that's important. Home base here, my home base unit. Okay, and then I'm going to get successive divisions going that way and multiplying those by the base going that way. So kilo is 1,000 times the base, where deci is 1/10 of the base, 100th of the base, 1,000th, a million, billionth, and trillionth. You can see how it goes. These numbers here are really the decimal places you're going to move when you go from the base. Okay, now important to know that when you go to the right, you'll move the decimal point in that direction, and if you go to the left, you will move the decimal point in that direction from where you're going to. So you want to look at where you are, your given unit. So think of this as like a map, okay? Or maybe like when you go to, you are here at the mall, and you find out where you're here and you travel, okay? And then figure out where you want to go, and then move left or right depending on the places, okay? So for instance, let's just say you have 500 meters. So this is your given, okay? So what I would be is I would be in the base unit, the meter. So I would be right here. That was where I would start. And I want to know how many centimeters. That's my desired unit. And since centimeters is here, centi is here, I want to travel in that direction. So I'm going from the base, right? I'm going to travel to centi, which is 2 decimal places. To the right, because I'm going to have to travel to the right. So how many centimeters? I don't know. So I'm going to take my 500, and here I'm going to go 1, 2. Okay, and that would be now 50,000 centimeters. Because each meter is 100 centimeters. I'm sorry, there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter, so you'd have to go in that direction. Okay, so we're taking 500 meters, we're going to move it forward, and we're going to have 50,000 centimeters. Okay, all right, so let's just say I had 5,000 micrometers, and so I would be here with micro, and I want to go to centi. Well, I would be going back from 6, 10 to the minus 6 to 10 to the minus 2, which would be 4 places. So I go from 6, right, from the 6th place to the 4th place. So I have to go 4 places back. So I would have 5,000 micrometers. Okay, and I'm going to take that. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 0.5 centimeters, and that would be my answer. Okay, so again, find out where you are, micro. Go back to where you want to go to by moving back. Well, how many spaces that would be from 6 to 2? Okay, and watch these decimals too, because if you go from 3 to 2 backwards, that's 1 place. If you go from 3 to 1, that would be 2 places back. If you went from 9 to 6, that would be 6 places. So that's how you want to do it like that. And if you went from 12, when you went 12 back to 9, that would be those many. It would be 9 places. 12 back to 3 would be 9, and 6 back to 2 would be 4. So you can play around in between those 2 things that way. All right? Sounds good. All right, let's practice going a few more here, just to check it out. If we go from, let's just say we had 1,350 millimeters. So I start with that. So, well, let's say I'm in millimeters. I would have to go back to meters. And of course, this is nothing. This is 3 places, right? So I'm going to go back 3 places. So if I have 1,350 millimeters, I would go 1, 2, 3 back. I would have 1.35 meters. Okay, you can do it that way too. All right, so micrograms. Okay, micro again is 10 to the 6th. I want to go to milli, which is to the 3. Okay, but milli is here, right? And micro is here. So micro is to the 6, milli is to the 3. We're going to go back 3 places. So we're going to take 557 and go 1, 2, 3. And we'll have 0.557. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to go forward. That's my mistake. We're going to go from the given milli. We want to go to micro. See, you have to be careful. All right. So we have 557, and we're going to go from milligrams to micrograms. So we're going to go forward 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to have that many. So we'll have 557,000 micrograms. The prefix for micro, sometimes you'll see a little symbol. It's like a little mini u, micro grams. Okay, so that becomes that. Sorry about that mistake. All right, let's say we have a 2.6 kilometer ride to High School East. Okay, how many centimeters this is going to be? Well, let's see. Kilo is here, and then you have the base, right? And you have deci, centi, milli. Well, centi is here. That's to the 2. So we're going to go back to the base and then go forward 3. So it's really 5 places, right? So it's 2 to the base to kilo, okay? Or from kilo to the base to centi would be going forward to 5 places, right? So we're going to take 2.6. I'm going to go forward 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we'll fill in with zeros, right? So that would be 260,000 centimeters. Okay? That's that. Okay? And let's just say we have our blue light is, say, 400 nanometers. Well, nanometers is here, right? Is on the right side. That's 10 to the 9. And then we got to go back. And it says they want to know how many millimeters. So milli is here. Okay, so we're going to go from 9 to 3. So we're going to go all the way back to 3. 9 to 3 is 6 places. So we're going to take 400. And we're going to go back to millimeters. Millimeters. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this would be that. So we're going to take 0.0000400 millimeters. Okay. All right. So that's the end of the show. All right. Well, we'll see you in class. Okay, bye.